Good afternoon, folks. And today is a very decent question to talk about. Question is, this is kind of like a sports wars type of question about high school teams. And when you rank them in the state and how you rank them. Well, this is a question about, is it because of their name, why they always get put in the rankings, or is it because they're just that good? That's the question you gotta ask yourself. Well, we're gonna give you an example here. Okay, first off, let's look. You can always go to the Ohio High School Athletic Association website, click on the football playoff rankings, and click on the October 25th state rankings, and click on that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Go to Division 1 through Division 7 divisions, and there's legitimately some very decent teams in there. There's some 9-1s, some 10-0s, some of them look pretty legit. But then you ask yourself, you got a team that legitimately won, say like 34-21, and then they lose 25-20 to like Cincinnati St. Xavier, to another ranked team, and then they lose 45-27. I don't really know who they actually lost to. I'm just guessing. To another ranked team. But what you don't know is a lot of things. I mean, a 7-3 ranked Cincinnati Moeller is who I'm talking about. They're 7-3, ranked number 10. Well, you got another team right behind them who's 10-0, who could be easily ranked ahead of them. Question you gotta ask yourself, is Cincinnati Moeller overrated? Are they really that weak? Are they really that good to be ranked at number 10? I'm not trying to downplay Cincinnati Moeller. I have the utmost respect for Cincinnati Moeller. I've never questioned their credibility of how good they really are. I've always respected Cincinnati Moeller, and I always will respect Cincinnati Moeller. Because they've been a very good football team for I don't know how long. Just as good as Cleveland St. Ignatius, who goes back to like 1988, I think, was when their first state championship was, and they've like won like almost every time since, but there might have been a couple times where they screwed up and might have had a couple other wins and so on and so forth. I mean, you gotta look at the Ohio High School Athletic Association record holders of most titles in football. I mean, they will hold it. You can see what years they won it and what years they didn't win it. I mean, it literally shows win. These guys literally show everything. But on the flip side of that, these guys literally are showing like where it comes into play at. You can go to like 19 anything. Every year that there's been rankings and everything, it there shows you almost everything. But the question you gotta ask, where do you draw the line with record? 8-2? 9-1? 10-0? Or do you should 7-3 even be considered in that? I've even seen in a few years past that they even had 6-4s in the top 10. Should that even be a thing? Even 5-5. So I'm like, really? You're gonna put a 5-5 team in the top 10? Like, how do you legitimately put a 5-5 team in the top 10 who lost 5 games and won 5 games? Who did they beat to get put in the top 10? Well, you got these other 5-5 teams who didn't even make the playoffs. Then you have these other 7-3 teams who didn't make the playoffs, or 8-2 teams who didn't make the playoffs. This was the past. This year is the first time you will have any team beyond 8 make the playoffs. It's the top 16. Other than last year during the pandemic, literally everybody made the playoffs then. But literally anybody beyond like that would make the playoffs. Only the top 8 would make the playoffs back then. That means like some 7-3 teams wouldn't make it. Some 8-2 teams wouldn't make it. I mean, for once, we beat a state-ranked national power, Pickerington Central, 31-30, and we still don't make the playoffs. That should add points to what you already got. We finished the season very strongly at 6-4, and there's some 6-4 teams that got into the playoffs, but we still don't make the playoffs. This is what I'm talking about. You get into the playoffs, you win, you beat some very good quality teams, but yet you don't make the playoffs. That's something you need to ask yourself. Where do you draw the line when you get ranked in the state? 8-2, 9-1, or 10-0? Obviously 10-0 would be a legit ranking to be put in the playoffs. I see a lot of that in the playoffs, but 9-1, I can see that. But 8-2, pushing into the top 10, being over number 10, that's the question. Do you think an 8-2 team should overtop a 10-0 team? An undefeated team, should they be number 1? Should they be in the top 5? That's the question I'm asking you. Comment down below what you think. Should a 9-1 team be over top of some unbeaten teams? Should they be in the top 5? Comment down below what you say. A lot of good questions I got. Now, I get this is COVID. And there was like, I can't remember what team it was. It was 6-1. And they were in Division 4. Cleveland, St. Villa. They were 6-1. I can't remember what the ranking was in Division 4. But they moved up and like, they won their first game legitimately. They looked like they were not overrated. But when you play teams like this, sometimes they play like the ranking they deserve to be there, but when you lose 3 games, you question their legitimacy if they should be there or not. That's why people always question, are they legit? When you have the last number on the record there, you question, are they legit? Should they even be legitimately be there? So that's the question you gotta ask yourself. Are they legitimately there? Are they legitimately not? Something you gotta ask yourself all the time. Are they legitimately there? Or are they legitimately not? Something you gotta ask yourself. Don't question it. Just do it. Because we never quit. Never quit when you have that challenge ahead of you. Well, with that being said, hit the like button, hit the bell for notifications. With that being said, comment down below what you think of all this and what you think should happen. With that being said, I'm out of here. Peace.